Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Om Jnantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 verse 9. Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashta atmano alpa buddhayah prabhavanti ugra karmanaha kshayaya jagato hitaha. Since they are bereft of knowledge of the soul, foolish demons consider the body to be the self. Accepting shelter of this demoniac view, they take birth solely for the destruction of this world and engage in cruel activities for that purpose. So as you know, Lord Krishna has been describing the characteristics and the nature of those who have demoniac nature. Once again, a demon is not someone who has sharp teeth, long nails and big horns. That's the characterization in the movies and the animations. But it is the nature of the person that makes him godly or demoniac. If one is averse to the Supreme Lord, one is against the Vedic injunctions, the scriptural principles, then he will only live his life for sense enjoyment. And such a person develops a demoniac nature, which is not only just harmful to himself, but also to the rest of the world. So Krishna is describing that in this verse, and he describes the nature of such demoniac people in the next 10 verses also. Here Krishna is saying alpa buddhayaha, that they have very little knowledge. What does he mean? Now, some of these people may be materially very intelligent. They may be great technocrats. They may have big degrees. But that is not the yardstick of real knowledge. Here, when Shri Krishna is saying alpa buddhayaha, he is specifically referring to spiritual knowledge, the knowledge of the soul. So he is saying that because they have very little knowledge about who they really are, that they are not the physical body but the spirit soul, so therefore they only consider their physical body to be their self. And because of this, all their activities are centered around enjoyment and accumulating more and more and more for gratifying their senses, even though this may lead to destruction of the world, of the nature around us. It may harm others. They don't care. And in fact, we see this all around us. It is only because the increasing demoniac mentality that the nature is being exploited to an extent that our climate is changing. The world is becoming more and more polluted. Many species are disappearing from the face of the earth. People want to consume more and more and more because we think that more physical possessions we have, the more successful we would be and the happier we would be. In fact, it is exactly the opposite. And because of this overconsumption, we are creating havoc in the nature. And in fact, by some calculations, we have destroyed the world to such a degree that it may be irreversible if we do not correct the course as soon as possible. But see, we are seeing this happening, and Krishna 5,000 years ago was cautioning about such nature and the results of the activities of such demoniac people. He's saying that such people, they take birth only to destroy the world. They engage in cruel activities. The human life is so precious, it is meant for self-realization. But those who are only motivated by material desires, their only interest is to enjoy and accumulate, even at the cost of other people's unhappiness, misery, and destruction of societies, communities, and the world in general. We have seen so many dictators who, just to satisfy their selfish desires, they've been in the past, they are them currently as well, that they cause so much destruction and misery. Srila Gurudev states in the commentary that demons are bereft of knowledge of the self, or Atmagyan. They invent various types of machines on the pretext of advancing human civilization. So, the so-called Industrial Revolution, well, in some sense, it was certainly good, but the nature of material advancement is such that it does not yield permanent good results. So while all the technological advancements have made some improvement in people's standard of living, there are good things about it, but at the same time they have also caused a lot of problems, especially the advanced weapons that have been created. Srila Gurudev states that an abundance of weapons and apparatus are being devised to kill the maximum amount of people in the minimum amount of time, even those in distant continents. So previously, when the wars used to take place, they were using only weapons like swords, bow and arrow, and men had to be on the battlefield, fighting with each other physically with these simple weapons. So the innocent people would never get killed in a war. At least that was as per the established principles of war. But of course, there were also cruel people and kings who killed innocent women, old men and children, even though it is strictly prohibited that in a war they should never be killed. Only able-bodied men who are soldiers, they should fight. But nowadays, because of the weapons that are fired from a distance, it is more the innocent people, the civilian population, that gets impacted than the soldiers on the battlefield. So the demons are quite proud of such inventions which can destroy this world at any moment. We have so many nuclear weapons today that many earths can be destroyed. And what is the benefit of so many nuclear weapons? First of all, so much money, billions and billions of dollars are spent to make these weapons. The same money could have been used to completely eradicate poverty from the entire world. So, first of all, so much money is being spent to make these weapons, and so much money is spent to maintain them, to safeguard them, to upgrade them, and then if they are used, then again there is going to be so much destruction that to rebuild will again cost billions and trillions of dollars. So where is the intelligence in this whole thing? There is no intelligence. It's complete foolishness, and this is the characteristic of a demoniac society. Why? Because as Shri Gurudev states, a demoniac society has no faith in Ishwar or the Vedas. So no faith in the Supreme Lord, no faith in the scriptures, and therefore they are working to destroy the world, not to produce peace and happiness for society. So without true religion, without faith in the Supreme Lord, it is the nature of the human beings that they will kill each other. It is only the religious principles that prevent us from destroying each other. Unfortunately, nowadays even religion is being used as a pretext for fighting. But that is not true religion. So when we speak of religion, we are speaking of true religion, the real spirituality as Shri Krishna is describing in Bhagavad Gita. As we have discussed, fighting for the true cause, for the protection of religious principles is fine, and again it is fought on the battlefield between soldiers of the two sides. The innocent people are never hurt. But war that takes place only to fulfill the territorial desires of powerful rulers, that is completely irreligious. They don't understand that even if they control the entire earth, they would not be able to enjoy it forever, because every ruler, every king, every dictator will have to die one day. There has been never in the history that any empire has been able to maintain its empire forever. Whether it was the Roman Empire, whether it was the British Empire, where are they today? They shed so much blood, killed millions of people to maintain power. But to what benefit? See, a demon will never think of these things because they are only motivated by their immediate selfish desires. But a devotee understands, he lives for the higher purpose and not for the immediate gratification of the senses. This is a difference between those who are godly and those who have a demoniac nature. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ji also states that the demoniac try to enjoy this material world to the utmost limit and therefore always engage in inventing something for sense gratification. Such materialistic inventions are considered to be advancement of human civilization, but the result is that people grow more and more violent and more cruel to animals and cruel to other human beings. They have no idea how to behave toward one another. Animal killing is very prominent amongst demoniac people, and we are seeing that how meat consumption is increasing day by day. And now even the United Nations is saying that if people stop eating meat or reduce meat consumption drastically, then we would be able to save our planet. Because to produce meat, so many forests are being leveled to make them grasslands for the cattle to graze. So in fact, the meat industry is causing an immense harm to the climate. And then on top of that, this is such an act of cruelty. Innocent animals who have no way to protect themselves are being mercilessly slaughtered only to satisfy our 2.5-inch tongue. So this is demoniac nature, that they have no compassion for others. Srila Prabhupada states that such people are considered the enemies of the world because ultimately they will invent or create something which will bring destruction to all. Indirectly, this verse anticipates the invention of nuclear weapons, of which the whole world is today very proud. Right? Those who have a lot of nuclear weapons, they think that they are the rulers of the world, and they prevent others from making any weapons. So it's a very, very biased society. Unfortunately, the very fact that nuclear weapons exist, it is a high possibility that some time in the future, maybe not in very distant future, some crazy ruler will end up using them, causing great amount of destruction. So at any moment war may take place and these atomic weapons may create havoc. Such things are created solely for the destruction of the world, and this is indicated here. Due to godlessness, such weapons are invented in human society. They are not meant for the peace and prosperity of the world. Then in next verse number 10, Shri Krishna states, Kamam ashritya dushpuram dambha mana madanvitaha mohat grihitva asat grahan pravartante ashuchi vrataha. Driven by insatiable desires and filled with hypocrisy, pride and arrogance, these deluded persons always hanker after temporary sense objects. Sworn to depravity, they engage in the worship of insignificant demigods. So, further describing the nature of those who are demoniac, Shri Krishna states, Kamam ashritya dushpuram. Dushpuram means insatiable. So their lusty desires are unlimited. Even after enjoying, and they have been enjoying for so many lifetimes, still their lusty desires are not satiated. That is the nature of lust. It is like fire. The more ghee, the more fuel that you give to it, it is only going to become stronger. So, providing our senses with sense objects is like pouring ghee on fire. So it will never be doused, it will only become stronger. So they are filled with hypocrisy, duplicity, right? Something else is in their heart and what they pretend in front of the world is very different. And they are so proud of their materialistic achievements, not knowing that everything will come to an end. And because of their materialistic knowledge, or because of their wealth, or because of other things that they may have, for example power, or they may be a great singer, so many different things, they're so proud that they don't consider anyone in front of them of any value. This is, our biggest problem, that some form or other in all of us this pride exists, and that is the reason we do not surrender to the Lord. We forget, because of whatever possessions that we have, we develop such a sense of security that we think that all of this as well as our life will never come to an end. This is arrogance, and because of this, such people are only hankering after temporary sense objects. They are not utilizing their precious human life for the permanent happiness, to attain permanent life in the abode of the Supreme Lord. Srila Gurudev states in the commentary that persons of a demoniac temperament who do not accept a supreme controller and the Vedic conclusions consider that the success of human life is only to accumulate wealth and by it fulfill their selfish desires. That's how we are trained from our childhood. that more and more you accumulate, more and more that you gratify your senses, more successful you will be. But does it really lead to happiness? Today's society is the evidence. We are in fact seeing that level of unhappiness, depression, stress, all of this is increasing multifold. Even though today we have so much more than what our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents had. But they were much, much more happy, much more satisfied, and never had any stress in their lives, right? But nowadays the parameters of success are work hard and then play hard. And Sri Gurudev states that for this reason they remain attached to impure activities such as drinking, wine, eating meat, having illicit sex and gambling. These are the 4 pillars of sinful life. And today's society glorifies these sinful activities. See how degraded we have become, that the very acts that should not be done, the very activities that cause problems, we glorify them and engage more and more and more in them. So such demoniac people deride the Vedic conclusions, being completely intoxicated by pride and false ego. Only people like this are glorified in modern atheistic society. So nowadays, people who are considered celebrities or glorified people are running after them. They in fact are engaging in many of these sinful activities. And because we are making the wrong people our role models, we are also going down the wrong path. So although they are pushing, Sri Gurudev states, although they are pushing society to the threshold of destruction, they proudly consider themselves to be highly intelligent. Today everyone is talking of artificial intelligence, and those who are inventing or who have invented it, they are being considered heroes. But mark my words, it's only a matter of time that this will cause immense amount of grief and problems in the society. Not because it is wrong, it can be properly used, but the problem is that without any guardrails, without any religious principles in the society, any technological advancement will ultimately be misused and will only cause greater problems in the society. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ji also states in the commentary that in this verse Shri Krishna is describing the demoniac mentality. The demons have no satiation for their lust. They will go on increasing and increasing their insatiable desires for material enjoyment. Although they are always full of anxieties on account of accepting non-permanent things, they still continue to engage in such activities out of illusion. They have no knowledge and cannot tell that they are heading the wrong way. Accepting non-permanent things such demonic people create their own god, create their own hymns and chant accordingly. So here Krishna says, Pravartante ashuchi vrataha, that they worship insignificant demigods. So they create their own unauthorized deities which are not even described in the scriptures. They create their own hymns, their own chants, and we see that very prevalent in today's society. The lot of things in the name of religion that people do are nowhere mentioned in any of the Vedic scriptures. And what is the result? Srila Prabhupada states the result is that they become more and more attracted to 2 things: sex enjoyment and accumulation of material wealth. The word ashuchi vrataha means unclean vows is very significant in this connection. Such demonic people are only attracted by wine, women, gambling and meat eating. those are their unclean habits. Induced by pride and false prestige, they create some principles of religion which are not approved by Vedic injunctions. Although such demoniac people are most abominable in the world, by artificial means the world creates a false honor for them. Although they are gliding towards hell, they consider themselves very much advanced. So this is the reason that we need to be intelligent. We should not just foolishly follow such people just because others are following them. Our hero is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. We should follow his instructions that he is giving in Bhagavad Gita, because only then and only then our life will be successful, and only then there is some possibility or hope of peace and happiness in the society. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Have a very blessed day.